What's good, YouTube? It's your boy P Money. So, I seen a very interesting article regarding um, nearly 70% of Americans are worried about a nuclear attack, according to APA survey. Um, I find this very interesting because, you know, with this current administration, um, they've been full of lies, man. Like, Biden was saying that Russia would not invade Ukraine. That was a damn lie. They said that sanctions would deter Russia. That was a damn lie. They said that American troops will be in Ukraine. That's the only thing that's that I actually believe, and I saw yesterday that there was a article with the top U.S. General Milley basically echoing that today, that the only way that America can stop Russia is to have troops on the ground. And that's a problem. And he was talking about that in the House Armed Services Committee that was held yesterday. So it's very interesting that they want to talk about this stuff. Um, but it's also noted too that Biden was saying that these sanctions will hurt America as well. And we're seeing that right now. I mean, we've been seeing what his under his order, like how this country has been, you know, messed with. The people, the high gas prices, homelessness, drugs are going insane right now. Immigration is insane right now. Like here in Arizona, these people are coming out of the woodworks right now. It's very bad. It's very bad with immigration. That I am against immigration right now, wholeheartedly. Because I feel like reparations for foundational Black Americans should be the only thing that this administration should be worried about right now. You're giving all this extra money to all these immigrants who are not from this country. Um, you got foundational Black Americans out here that are technically like refugees living here. You know what I mean? Because we're always treated unfairly all the time. Today, earlier, I had filed a discrimination case against my company and one of the clients that we work with. And they're going to be in for a rude awakening. Like, I'm tired of the games that this country plays, man. It's very bad for Black people, especially foundational Black Americans. Like, it's very bad for us. Now, it's funny that they expect us to support Ukraine. Like, foundational Black Americans have fought in every single conflict in American history. And we've never really been given our just due ever. So why does America feel like foundational Black Americans should be fighting for them? Why not send a guy like Kyle Rittenhouse to fight for you guys over in the Ukraine? I have another idea. How about those insurrectionists? Why don't you send those guys out there? Get them, get all their names, like, and send them over to war, you know? They seem like they're ready for that type of stuff, so why not them go and fight? You know? What about these degenerate thugs around, like, especially here in Arizona? Why don't you just, since you're giving them slaps on the wrist in jail, why not just go ahead and, while they're in jail, train them up, send them over to Ukraine, as punishment, you know? It's very coincidental that all of a sudden, that when reparations has become like on the forefront, like it's actually being spoken about on the state level and the federal level. Well, the federal's still trying not to talk about it really, but it's on the state level now. All of a sudden, like they go to great lengths. This administration is going to great lengths about, um, going to war, and it's funny because on Saturday, this past Saturday, I had a class, and there was a suspected white supremacist I'm alleging that he's a former Marine because he wears those shirts all the time. So it's hard to say. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know the dude's name. I just know he's a suspected white supremacist, and he loves talking to me. Like for some reason. So he asked me a question about this war, and do I feel like we would be, uh, if we were to go to war with Russia, would we and would we win or would we lose? And I said we would lose. You know, based off like things that I've seen when I was deployed all the time. Well, when I was I was always deploying. So nobody even talks about like troops being fatigued from all these different wars. Like we just got out of a 20-year war in Afghanistan. While Russia has been much fresher, they haven't really been in conflict since 2014. So they've had the the most opportune time to see how other countries fight. You know what I mean? There's been so many different conflicts going on that they can just gather intel against that um, country. Like for example, the U.S. I'm sure they have great intel against our fighting styles. Because it's funny that there's, according to the Biden administration, there's threats of cyber attacks, and it makes me wonder, like, why are you so worried about that? Like, if our country is so great, like, you can't counter their cyber attacks? Is that what you're saying? Or like, I mean, it's hard to say. Like we've had a lot of different like fraudulent types things happening, especially here in Arizona and Tucson in particular. Like there's a lot of fraud going on. You know, I just seen a story recently that people at this bank, they were getting money taken out, and Pima doesn't even, or the bank doesn't even know where the money went and who took it. So they're under investigation right now, and that's terrible. That's horrible. You know, that's very bad. That's bad news. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting very interesting. It's you know, it's it's prophesized, man. Like what's happening? I've seen there's a story that just popped up again all of a sudden about um there being droughts here in Arizona now. Like they tried to get rid of that. Like, oh, there's no more drought, man. We had good rain. Like one single rain cycle is not gonna replenish all that water you guys are talking about was is missing. Now there's food supply issues. There's recession talks that are being brought up. I just seen an article about Janet Yellen talking about there's a possible recession coming. Yet we got all this money for Afghan and Ukraine refugees. You know what I'm saying? Ukraine is getting trillions of dollars. They're giving trillions of dollars on not just money, but they're giving also. Um, there's troops over there in Poland right now, American troops, training them how to fight. You know what I'm saying? Um, they're they have all this equipment that they're given. You know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting that they have all this money yet they're talking about. Oh, we could possibly be reaching a recession. It's just so funny to me, like that this is happening. Like we're allegedly in all this debt, yet you have all this money for the Ukraine, for the Afghans. And what's funny is like, what happens if those particular individuals that you bring over here go against your words? What are you going to do? You're giving them all this money. What happens if they set up shop here and they're just, people that you've you felt were good people, but they're coming over here with a different agenda than you are? They see that America's looking like it's in shambles, you know? Who's to say that they're not a part of like any like Al Qaeda or any of these neo-Nazi organizations that in their military, like these Ukraines? Who's to say that they're not? Who's to say? How can you really know? How can you really properly vet these people like that? You know? They don't do that. They just go off what they say, what they hear, you know? That Zelensky fellow tells them like they need help from America, and they just run and do it. when they should be running to help their their most loyal voting bloc. You know, they're trying to trot out Barack Obama again to try and finesse black people into voting. Like, what is happening right now for black Americans to be even thinking about voting? You know what I'm saying? There's nothing, like nothing that's coming up of us voting, that especially now, like I don't know what it was, 80 some percent of black Americans voted for Biden. People must be feeling very mighty foolish right now, you know? And that's no disrespect to any of my fellow foundational black Americans, but we just got to keep it a buck, man. Like, this is what you all voted for, you know? I didn't vote, thankfully. I didn't vote for either Biden or Trump. Now, when I voted, it was more in the best interest of where I am here in Arizona, and Tucson to be in particular, you know? So I did more like local stuff, but in terms of the presidential candidates, no. These congressional candidates that were over here, no, I didn't vote for them either. You know, they had no black agenda whatsoever, you know? And that's just what it is, man. You know, it's very sad what's going on right now. Very sad. And it's right up in our faces, and there's nothing being done from this Biden administration to, you know, make black Americans whole. You know, like what is in talks? Well, they're so focused on this war, you know, they want to focus on this war that we have no business being a part of. Especially, like I just said earlier, I don't feel like America, like the troops, have really fully recovered from being out in war like that, you know, and then going into another foreign territory that you don't really know much about. Russia knows much more about that area than you do, you know. Yeah, you can have those Ukraine people over there, but if you're training them how to fight, that's a bad sign to me. That's a very bad sign, you know. Um, yeah, and it's just proof, man. Like they're fighting a lost cause, in my opinion. Also, I wanted to shout out New Black Media Appreciation Month, man. You know, um, New Black Media is doing their thing, man, and I really appreciate all of the brothers and sisters that are in New Black Media doing their thing. You know, it's refreshing to be able to hear like-minded individuals, you know, on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? Like Professor Black Truth with his moment of truth every day. That stuff helps me. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate all of the New Black Media. You know what I'm saying? It's a welcomed addition to these spaces, you know? So definitely general salute to them, but I don't really have too much else on this one. This is your boy Pete Money. Tell me what you guys think, and I'm off this.